Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
We're going to be talking about some new comics that have come out this past week, and then we're going to recap them, review them, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations of books that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up. It's slim pickings, so if you're here for recommendations, stick around. It's not going to take a lot of time. For some reason, next week is a little weak. Before we get started, I want to say that if you're watching this show live, thank you so much, and welcome to the live show. Guess what? Bet you didn't know this. You're a sponsor of today's show, or at least you have the opportunity. Your finger's on the button. All you got to do to sponsor today's show is use the super chats and click on whatever denomination you feel is appropriate to give, and we will read your comment and answer your question here on the show, and that's how it's going to work as a sponsorship between the two of us, or the three of us, I should say. You, me, Tiffany as well.
Thank you.
I wanted to get ahead of it. Emerald City Comic Con, obviously, postponed to the summer. That's canceled in my eyes, but whatever, because there's no date.
They might make it work. Well, they obviously, they have to not only, coordinate amongst their own cons, but with the convention center itself, it may
they didn't
see
it. Yeah, they didn't see it coming, and they didn't decide to do it until the last minute, so it's like, yeah, they're in a rock and a hard place.
Right, so that doesn't mean it's over. They might honestly give it a go, trying to figure out what's a good
Right,
time.
But if you were going to go to Seattle to see me and Benny talk on our show Absolute Comics, you're out of luck. You're not going to be going to the show no matter what.
Yeah.
But also, we had canceled ahead of time, but wanted to let you know. The show tomorrow, not happening, but that's it on that front. Before we actually get into the week's worth of books, because we also talk about stuff that's topical, things that are happening, I wanted to mention that we have a date for Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok's Three Jokers. That apparently this book is coming out on June 17th. It's 3 books. It's coming out on time.
One for each Joker.
That's right, exactly. I hope it's not focusing on one chapter per Joker. I think that sounds like not a story. But I am excited about it. If you've seen some of the preview art from the EW Entertainment Weekly exclusive interview between Johns Fabok and the interviewer, you'll see a few extra pages, and they look incredible. No matter what, this book is going to look great.
You know what's interesting is that I'm sure obviously this book had been in the works for a bit.
It's been in the works for 4 years.
But I mean, yes, but you know what I mean? Actually, being produced.
Yes.
It's just interesting that it came on the heels of
DiDio's exit from DC.
Yeah.
It's almost as though maybe it was being intentionally delayed.
Let's not get into that and start woo.
Oh, I'm gonna get my hat. Yeah, no.
But yeah, I was just that's either really unfortunate that they have created a potential conspiracy, or it's really there.
Yeah. Well, it's either one or the other.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but they released the art for each book.
Yeah.
Each cover for each book will depict a different Joker. And we know that apparently they issued the date for the initial release, June 17th, because the book's done.
Oh.
Because they finished the 3rd chapter.
Oh, that was smart.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. The only problem is apparently if they do that, it'll take 4 years for the books to come out.
Well,
we know that's not true, and we have our own theories as to why it took so long for a 3-chapter comic to come out that has almost no bearing on continuity, or it has every bearing on continuity.
Who knows?
Nobody. That's who.
Maybe it'll be a Joker crisis.
Yeah, a Joe crisis. I don't know.
Crisis of infinite laughs.
Yeah, I know that one thing that they said, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Johns said that he's not dealing with a multiverse of Jokers, so that would be stupid. And I was like, wow, shots fired. Are you kidding me? You just got through with a multiversal Batman event that Johns had nothing to do with it. And now he's doing a big seminal thing with the Joker and Batman, and he's like, we're not doing that. That would be stupid. I'm like, wow, ouch. Now it's Johns and Morrison who are making fun of Snyder's dark universe.
Well.
Anyway, so Jokers. Can't wait.
Right?
The book looks amazing.
We'll see.
I can't wait.
You know what it is, though? There's kind of a hype train.
Yeah.
Gotta watch out for those hype trains.
Oh, that's true. Well, it's funny, though. If you're waiting 4 years for the hype train, eventually you can just stop worrying about it.
Right? That's true.
Yeah. So let's jump into some super chats before we get started. John J is finally catching you guys live here in London, UK. Thank you very much.
Hi.
And hello or good evening. I don't know what time it is over there. I'm sure it's very late.
Right.
Gar just got my acceptance letter to law school. Just spreading the love. Congratulations,
Congrats!
man. My mom's a lawyer.
You have a lot of reading in your future.
Yeah, good luck.
No, it's gonna be great.
I hear the first year is the hardest.
But you'll get through it.
But then once you get through the first year, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Al Sidra says...
You're like Matt Murdock.
Yeah, why not? You can be an avocado. What do you think about Dan DiDio getting fired? There's a whole show about it. You can watch it in the playlist. So go into the playlist and watch it. It's called Dan DiDio Got Fired, so it shouldn't be hard to find. But thank you for helping us out. We do appreciate it.
We like to name these things on the nose.
We do. Well, it's for search algorithms' sake.
Right, of course.
Nathan E, A Crisis of Infinite Jest is for a Joker crisis. I liked yours. Crisis of Infinite Laughs or something like that.
Ha 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 ha.
And then
It'll become a laugh singularity.
Shout out to Brad Geiger.
Right, and he can. There was Snyder already dealt with singularities or whatever it was. What was it? No, it wasn't that. No. Was that ball thing they wanted that turned out to be Perpetua?
Oh crap. The totality.
The totality. I wanted to make it a singularity.
Yeah. The Frank Grant Morrison, I'm stuck alone in a lab for the next week while everyone else is on break for the occasional visits from my research advisor, so I'm fully reliant on ComicPOP for maintaining my sanity. Well, that's not a good thing for you, man, because we are not the most sane people. No, you're fine.
No, you're very...
But thank you for hanging out with us.
That is nearly Dickensian.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right? Well, good luck to you, my friend.
Watch out for ghosts.
Yes.
But I mean, if they show up, just listen to what they say and all will work out.
Yeah, they're probably benevolent.
All gonna work out.
Exactly. Let's jump into some books.
Let's do it.
I want to just give a quick shout out to Daredevil number 19.
Okay.
I read that on Twitter, Zdarsky, who is the author, Marco Cicchetto, who is the artist, that this was the book to pick up. He's like, if you haven't read any of my Daredevil, you got to pick it up. I've, of course, been reading all of his Daredevil, and it's incredible. I actually just finally got a hard copy of Daredevil number 1, which I've been hunting down forever. I literally was like, Zdarsky's Daredevil, whatever. And then I picked it up digitally, and I was like, oh my god. And I like to get physical copies in case I meet the creators and get them to sign it and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Daredevil number 19, Inferno part 1 of 2. Daredevil is essentially, he kind of not retired, but forced himself into not being Daredevil because he doesn't think he's really worthy of it. But because of that, there's an absence in Hell's Kitchen, and there's kind of this little movement of the people of Hell's Kitchen, and they put on Daredevil masks and they do good. Basically Hell's Kitchen gets torn up by a bunch of supervillains who are done for hire to screw up Hell's Kitchen and the idea is it's part of a real estate scheme, so Lex Luthor must be doing it. But no, it's the idea here is that they're reducing the property value so they can scoop them up, gentrify it, kick everybody else out, and then raise the prices.
I'm sorry, Lex. It's his beefier cousin.
Yeah,
Kingpin.
Right. But this book is incredible. It returns Bullseye to the Daredevil mythos, and
I was gonna say
based on the cover, but it also brings Matt back into the fight.
So,
and
how do you feel about what Zdarsky said about this book being if you didn't pick up any of them?
Well, here's the thing: if you didn't pick it up, you're gonna be like, well, who are all these people?
Okay.
Because there are a bunch of regular people in Hell's Kitchen, and you know who they all are. There's also a cop who's very much integral to the story. But I believe that the wrap-up page, the summary page that opens it, gives you a really good place to start.
Okay.
But again, only 19 issues, so go back, read them all. It's an incredible book. It looks good, and it is Daredevil through and through. People are going to be talking about this run like they're going to talk about the Bendis, the Brubaker, and the Miller run. So,
nice. Okay.
Keep an eye out for Daredevil and buy it.
Man.
It's just such a good book.
Zdarsky is like a sleeper hit.
He is, yeah. Although he's had so many, it's at this point, if he's on a book, just buy the damn thing.
Right, I know, but still, I mean, I think people are kind of slowly still finding out about him when he hits characters that they like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was a really smart move for him to start with Howard the Duck, unassuming.
Yeah.
I of course discounted it immediately. I was wrong.
You fool.
I was a fool. A total fool.
Yeah.
Thankfully, because of how vocal I was about how much I didn't like Howard the Duck, people sent me a bunch of copies of the book. So I could always just go back and check it out. So yeah, Daredevil, I dig it. Check it out.
Digging it.
What else we got? I guess we can talk about Batman.
Are you sure? Wait, is that what you have left?
These are all my books.
Then I might want to go.
I think you should.
Let's chat Excalibur really briefly.
Sure, yeah, Excalibur. It's the only X book that came out this week, and it was like...
Marauders came out.
Oh, yeah, Marauders. I'm off that book.
Okay.
I'm out.
I really should be off of Excalibur at this point, but I'm still on for whatever reason. I'm like, nope!
Yeah, you said it had a good, like, ending, a finality to it.
I'm committed to this for whatever reason. Remember last time they were after those werewolves, and, like, they were on Cullen Bloodshot's, like, property, and then, like, he turned on them, and we pick up with that, and they're like, here's what's weird. The writing went from being, like, good to being, like, as though someone doesn't care about this part of the book anymore.
That's how New Mutants went. Because, like, the New Mutants parts that aren't the boring ones is great.
Right.
And then it, like, and now I'm off. I'm just like, I've dropped a lot of X titles.
Yeah. I mean, like, seemingly this issue merely, like, is, like, a gateway to another book that's coming out. It's almost like it's, like, an in-between, because it's, like, this issue sums up that, like, the story that we're talking about with the werewolves.
Oh, okay.
And now we're just going to move on to the next thing. You know what I mean? It's like a weird break in between that you typically see done by a different writer.
Yes.
So that the other writer could, like, pick up the pace with the main story, but, like, it's the same writer.
Oh.
So I think it is, right? It was Teenie Howard the whole time.
I think so.
This is where I'm not really sure about that, because I haven't been saying the writers of these books.
No, that's true.
Regardless, we also see that, like, remember that Coven Akaba?
Yes.
Yeah, they reached out to Cullen, and, like, they're like, hey, like, you know, we're just, like, letting you know that, like, Britain's a little worried about all of, like, these mutants, and, like, we know the Homo sapiens of the Bloodstone family are generally very cool, and, like, if you're feeling any sort of woe or worry about this, you should just reach out to us, and maybe we could, like, you know, team up.
Right.
Here, essentially.
Okay.
Cullen makes a phone call in his gazebo, like, completely out in the open at night to them. And, like, Richter is, like, can't sleep, so he's out for a walk. And, like, he hears all of it. And then Cullen's like, hey, hang on a second. And he goes over to Richter, and he starts hitting on him.
Okay.
And then they kiss. And Richter's like, hold, please. And he runs to go tell Betsy. He's like, hey, I'm pretty sure he's dealing with Coven Akaba. And I'm like,
okay. So the tension is thwarted.
Yeah, the tension's completely thwarted. They go out to get the rest of the werewolves, and, like, the original, like, plan is that, like, after they have, like, their big fight at the beginning, where, like, it's continued from the last issue, they're like, oh, okay, we just won't use our powers anymore, and, like, Cullen won't use his, like, crazy monster thing that's part of him anymore, and he wears a ring to, like, keep him good. But then, like, they're like, okay, we're just going to, because, like, Richter puts it together that, like, Coven Akaba is going to try to, like, pin it all on the X-Men.
Sure.
Like, something will happen, and then it'll all be all their fault.
Right.
So he's like, we just need to get the skulls and get out of here.
Okay.
So that's what they do. They go get the skulls, and, like, Rogue has, like, one of their skins, so she puts it on and looks like them, and they get the skulls. Like, that's all you cares about is they get the skulls.
Right.
And then they leave. They knock out Cullen, and then they leave.
Right.
But not
so it's a book about people who say what they do and then follow through on it.
And then they do it. And then, like, they go back to Apocalypse. They're like, here are your skulls. And he's just like, I didn't say I needed 5 skulls. I said I needed to wipe them out. Because, like, they didn't kill all of them because they found a puppy. A werewolf puppy.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, Betsy couldn't kill it.
Yeah.
Like, none of them would do it.
Okay.
So they just brought it back.
Cool. So
and,
we got
like,
a new Lockheed
Apocalypse
type
is
thing.
like, you were supposed to kill them all.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I showed it mercy. And he's like, okay, cool, fine. Mercy's its own form of power. Whatever. So he's, like, just frustrated and upset. Then there's, like, some, like, strangely specific poetry about the stars, written by Zorn. And
yeah, he likes to write poetry.
Then they proceed to give the puppy to Rachel, who has had experience with the werewolves.
Yeah.
And we're meant to go and check out what her new job might be in X Factor #1.
Oh, no, I'm good.
And that was the end of the book.
Cool.
I was like, so, like, honestly, if you were reading Excalibur and you missed the past 2 issues, that's fine.
You can check this out.
I would just try when issue #9 comes out.
Right.
Or whatever. Like, just give it a shot then. Again, maybe it'll be better.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, issues 1 through 6, really strong and great.
Yeah.
Issues 7 and 8, I'm like, I don't care.
Maybe that's like a trend. I don't know. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about the X-Men titles. It's more like, because everyone, like, literally there's a title for you. Like,
Sure.
But, like, maybe when you've told your story, you could just end the book.
It could be that. It could also be this kind of felt like they're stalling.
Wow.
Like maybe X-Men needs to get to a certain point before this like book could continue
That
on.
is kind of an issue when you have like an interconnected like universe of your own.
Yeah, exactly. And so like maybe they just needed these 2 issues. Like they established very little. There is some stuff that's established, but it's just not enough to warrant, I think, this like mini story arc.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'll be proven wrong later. I don't
Maybe.
know.
I doubt it. Let me jump into some super chats while you get your next book ready.
What do I want to do next?
Let's see. I believe Ronald Caterasano says, recently found you guys. Love the channel. Well, thank you very much, and welcome to the population. Thank you very much for checking us out. And Elseworlds Exchange really, Backishes and Elseworlds Exchange really helped me kill the time when I'm at work. Daredevil 19, best issue ever. Yeah, it's a great issue. And thanks for checking out those shows. We appreciate it, man.
Hi.
And welcome to Off the Rack. Hopefully you enjoy this as well. Al Sidra, the big book con that was held in Leipzig every year was canceled due to health concerns. I was looking forward to attending when I went back to visit Germany. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the case across the board. A lot of stuff's getting
Yeah,
canceled.
a lot of things are getting canceled.
Yeah, and it's gonna get worse before it gets better. So wash your hands every time you go out of the house. Every time you come back from the house.
Before you eat.
Before you eat, don't touch your face. Debashish Mahaptra says, here's some for the hardest working crew. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very
Especially
nice.
this guy.
Oh no. Troy Harness says, hey, Comic Pop, and when I'm off duty, I love your back issues. Because of you, I'm all in with Immortal Hulk, X-Men, and Daredevil.
Ooh, nice.
That's good company,
Hey.
man. Thank you very much for checking us out. And also, of course, for checking those out. Immortal Hulk, no dip in quality. X-Men, it's your cup of tea. Check it out. And Daredevil, of course, excellent series. So I'm glad you're checking them out.
Yeah.
They're good stuff. So, yeah.
So
Go ahead.
you have like one more thing, so I'm just going to keep...
I have 2 more things.
Oh,
Oh, no, I don't. I have one more thing.
Yeah. So the rest of my books have something to do with the word strange.
Yes, you do.
Like literally the next 3 books.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
No, there's... Did you do Savage Avengers?
Yeah.
That's not Savage.
Doctor
Or that's
Strange
not
is
strange.
in it.
He is strange, but at least
That's
that's
what I'm
strange in
saying.
the title.
Like it doesn't matter.
That's fair.
So I've got 4 more books. Doctor Strange really quickly. Number
Yes.
4 came out. The book is getting better for me.
Oh, you know what's funny?
I think it's because Kev Walker's there.
I had a feeling that you were going to start liking the book more.
Yep. I think because Kev Walker might be handling a little bit more of the story than Mark Waid is.
That makes sense.
I don't know that for sure. Obviously, I don't have any
Here's the
insider
thing.
info on
Well,
this.
you only have your brain, which
Yeah.
you have used to read Mark Waid's run, and it's been meh until now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, another person's on the book.
Yeah. So, this issue focuses on Dr. Druid
Yes.
and getting a little more information about him and familiarizing folk who may not know about him or know what he's been up to.
Probably a
so
good
this
idea.
book does it in a competent way where, like, we have a character who would clearly not know about him but works with him and would like to know more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing. The script is pretty tight, which is something I haven't really been able to say
Yeah, no.
about Strange in a while.
Yeah.
Which was strange for me. Basically, the story begins in the hospital where Strange has been working,
Right.
and there's a family who is like concerned about their like mom, and by mom I guess it's just one of them because obviously they're married.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, don't worry, like our like top surgeon is coming because like he scheduled the surgery 3 days ago,
Okay.
and he's not there.
Oh, no.
Because he went back to his forge, and when he got there was a big beastie waiting for him. It's the Calusian Berserker,
Okay.
which looks awesome.
Right.
And he's like, okay, cool. Obviously, they didn't send him to steal all my stuff because, as he puts, you don't order an ox to burgle. And I'm like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he's like, but he was left behind to distract me from whatever. So he's trying to fight this thing off, but he knows he has to get back for the surgery. When another surgeon shows up, and he's like, hang on, I've got this. And then Strange is like, I'm here. Get the hell away. Get out of here. Shoo. So
Okay.
Strange says that we don't see the surgery. We just skip
Good.
it. And then like he's chatting with the woman who's like above him. And she's like, hey, you know what, man? Like, I warned you about this. Like, I know you have other obligations, but, like, you promised me that it wouldn't interfere with this. You scheduled it. It wasn't like this was an emergency surgery. We called you in.
Right.
You scheduled this.
Yeah.
And he's like, honestly, like, I can't give her an excuse because, like,
she's not wrong.
Yeah, she's not wrong. So he just apologizes.
Right.
He's just like, you're right. And I'm like, nice.
Oh, okay.
Good for you, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So then she's like, hey, you look like you could use a drink. Like, how about we go out and I want you to tell me about Druid. Like,
okay.
I want to understand, like, who is he? Like, who is this guy who's running my hospital?
Right.
Right. So he explains, like, what he's been up to, so we get, like, the backstory. And he's just like, Dr. Druid is a druid. Now, if you've been reading Excalibur, you know that we have been dealing with druids in the Marvel universe because Richter goes to find them and he kind of, like, taps into the magic that they use. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting that it's like, we have that going on there and they bring it up here as well.
Yeah.
They mentioned that, like, he meets the Ancient One as he's, like, looking to learn more about his powers because the druid history and, like, lore is taught via, like, an oral tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And so if people aren't around to tell you about it, how are you supposed to find out about it? So he's, like, looking for anybody to help Matt, finds the Ancient One. The Ancient One at the time is looking for someone to replace him. It's pre-Strange. It's, like, way back in the past.
Yeah.
Because, like, Druid is way older than he appears to be. I guess I could call him Anthony Ludgate, too, just because that's what he's referred to in here specifically. But, like, so he's, like, you know, like, he looks younger than he is, but trust me, he's real old or what have you. He, like, Ludgate and the Ancient One don't work out, but they see that in one another, and so they kind of part ways.
Right on.
He goes on to kind of become a hero, what have you, and then inevitably, like, he dies.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, Strange is, like, admittedly, like, when I met him and I was Sorcerer Supreme, like, there was seemingly, like, a little, like, between the two of them.
Friction.
Because he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I couldn't be Sorcerer Supreme, but you can? This asshole? Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever. And he's like, yeah, no, it's true.
That's right.
So he dies, and then when he comes back in Weird World as, like, a villain.
Right.
And so then, like, you know, there's a whole bunch of other things that happen that include, like, Spider-Man and such. But suffice it to say that, like, inevitably, like, he just shows back up here and he's alive and he's fine. Yeah. And, like, Strange is like, it's a little weird. Just as a heads up.
Right.
It's a little weird. I'm sorry. I'm going to take back what I said about Spider-Man. I'm thinking about the other book with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, no. I'm like, he's not in this book. But...
No, but, like, literally I read 2 different stories with Doctor Strange.
So we'll get back
in
to
fact,
that.
I read 3 different stories with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I've got, like, Strange on the brain. So anyway,
you know,
yeah, it's pretty much every day for me, but I've got to keep 3 different stories straight. So regardless, the 2 of them end up back at this either I think it's her place.
I think it's her
place. And he's like, I'd invite you back to the sanctum, but, like, the Balrog who cleans isn't gonna be here. And she's like, ha ha ha. And then, like, basically it seems like she might ask him up.
Yeah.
And then, like, he seems a little like, oh, okay. And he gets a call that there's, like, you know,
danger afoot.
Code red at the hospital.
Yeah.
Red alert. And so he goes there and there's, like, a patient, like, who specifically asked for him and they don't know who the patient is, but, like, they need emergency surgery. Right. Like, neurosurgery. So he gets prepped, immediately goes into the room and they're trying to, like find out who he is, find out, like, what happened to him, because if he knows, if they can find out what happened to him, Strange can better diagnose and fix. Sure. So instead of, like, using the laser that they have, he goes in manually and such. And as soon as he goes in, he's like, oh, crap.
There's, like, a demon in there or something.
It is a demon.
All right.
It is a demon, and, like, as he's figuring it out, the person who's looking him out is like, he has no fingerprints. Oh. And so then, like, he uses, like, his like mind to reach out to Ludgate because he's like, I need you to come in here right now, and like I hopefully you can help me out here. So Ludgate comes in, clears the room, and then basically he uses his magic to, like, transfer the magical energy in the demon into, like, the plants he has in his greenhouse on the roof of the hospital, and kills them all. And they explode. Right. Cool. But, like, Ludgate's on like board for helping out. He wipes the mind of everybody who might have known anything about this. Strange is like, I don't really have the energy to have an argument with him over this. Which I was like, yay, this is more what I'm used to seeing from Doctor Strange, where he's just like, this is wrong, but I don't have time for this. And he starts, like, piecing together that, like, they need to go on the offensive, and, like, Ludgate's in. He's gonna help. He's like, yeah, man, cool. I'll help. Let's do it. I'm in. And I'm like, are you in because you're behind it?
Probably.
But because don't forget, he had, like, a map of Weird World. Right. And so, like, Strange realizes that, like, they took a whole bunch of stuff from the armory, and his next concern is that whoever took it, what if they can mass produce it? And then we see, like, a warehouse full of, like, demons wandering around, carrying all these, like, crates like you would if you were like doing a black ops like or a black like market sort of like weapons deal.
Right.
And like clearly that's what's happening here, but with magical items. And I was
Okay.
like, okay,
Nice.
that's a little better.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm like kind of excited for where this goes, which is really refreshing for me
Definitely.
at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right. That's cool. That's encouraging.
yeah, exactly.
I'm happy to hear that. Troy
Hi, Troy.
said I already talked to him.
Bye, Troy.
Sorry, Troy. We talked to you already. Daniel Riley says, "Hey, any thoughts on the new upcoming X-Men #1s?" Not really. It's just gonna be more of the same.
Isn't Hellions coming out?
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, what's that?
That's fair.
Sounds like something I'll be interested in.
I'm just reading the main book at this point.
I occasionally like look in and like obviously the giant size ones. I think.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
there's
I
a
think those are important.
There's a Nightcrawler one coming up,
Yes.
and I'm very interested in that.
Yeah.
If
Well,
it's-
in the light of X-Men 7, yeah, I'm definitely have to read that.
I was gonna say in light of the Jean Grey, Emma Frost one because
Right.
that was just a really cool character study of
was,
them
yeah.
without being a direct character study.
Tyler Bass, or Bass, says, haven't caught a stream in forever since I got my job as a full-time reporter.
Ooh,
Nice.
Clark Kent over here.
Yeah. Or, any of the other reporters that are in comics, like Eddie Brock, for example. Hopefully you're a better reporter than that. Let's just stick with Kent.
Thank you.
You guys are great. Always perfect for long rides home. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
But
especially
Robbie
going home.
Robertson.
Yeah, Joe Robbie Robertson. He's a great reporter. And hell, I like J. Jonah Jameson. I think he's a good newsman. He may not be,
You may not agree with his
unbiased,
policies,
but yeah. Stuart McNally just wanted to, hey guys, want to shout out BS UK Comixology. New comics been oh, that's right. Yeah. New comics have been priced to $5.25 minimum. It's now changed to buy physically. No explanation.
It's now cheaper.
It's now cheaper to buy physically. No explanation. People who don't have local comic book stores or physical space being driven away from creators that matter.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, no, it was because of the market, because of Brexit. The price went up, like a lot.
It's digital.
I know.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's
Just
horseshit.
what you
I'm
said.
sorry. It's I'm sorry, man.
That sucks.
I hope like there's some solution that doesn't involve piracy. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Is there any way, like through Marvel or DC?
Right, you can get Marvel Unlimited maybe.
Is there anything like a better option there?
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps with like current books though.
It does not, but it beats stealing from them. So I'd go with Marvel Unlimited or
man.
DC Universe maybe. I mean, that's kind of expensive.
I'm so sorry.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Good luck. Kevin Myers, wouldn't it be awesome if Matt Murdock was in Black Widow? Yeah, it would be. It'd be
Yes,
the most awesome.
That would be incredibly awesome.
I don't think he's going to be in there.
Listen,
they're going
let's
to
just hold
Russia.
up hope. Okay?
Yeah, I want that. There's a great like.
Isn't that funny that they're going to Russia and what's his face is in it?
Oh yeah, Hopper.
Yeah.
Ronald Caterasano says, any thoughts on Ten of Swords? We talked about that as well before, but I will say it looks cool. Everybody gets a sword, but it's not. It's like metaphorical, but literally they get swords too.
It's a metaphorical sword. No, I'm excited because we saw in Powers of X the like 3 tarot cards, and the Ten of Swords is a tarot card, and it does have a negative connotation. So
Yep.
I'm like, that's kind of cool. I'm interested to see if they're gonna pull in like tarot lore with it, especially considering that Apocalypse is so integral to Excalibur, so like that has that mystical element to it. So I don't know.
Drex 12341 says, long time watcher, first time live watcher, love you. Thanks a lot, Drex.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. And Rusky 910, any up and coming indie or any up and coming indie or Elseworlds what if styled books we should be watching for? No.
Okay, wait. So no, indie? No, yes. Plunge, 100%. I know it's like not necessarily indie because it's a DC Black Label.
Oh, I thought you meant like on Elseworlds, like on our show.
Oh.
But there's a bunch of indie books that you were reading.
Yeah, Something is Killing the Children, Plunge, even though again it's Black Label, but it's a Hill House Black Label, so I'm putting it in that Vertigo mindset, which I would still count as like an indie at that point.
Totally.
I think Plunge is an incredible book. I know it's only one issue in, but like I really liked it. I picked up Mercy, but I haven't had a chance to read it, but I'm interested to check that out. Same thing with that other book that I recommended last week, Kings of Nowhere.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't get a chance to read that either.
It's been a hectic week.
Stuff. It's kind of been that.
Legendary Marvel Man.
By the way, I was going to say, speaking of killing,
Something Killing Children.
I picked this up. on Wednesday. It's the trade, the volume 1 of Something Is Killing the Children. They had like a deal. Like this is the apparently the like incentive cover.
Oh.
Or Discover Now edition cover for like comic book retailers. I didn't realize it. I just like Jenny Frison or Frizzon, however you want to say her name, as an artist, and she did the cover for this. Did you scan this?
Yep. It's in the library now.
I love this story so much. And there's a great little cover gallery in the back of it. And if you are a fan of The Woods, there's a little like sneak peek at the Woods yearbook edition in the back of this. But this is a great book. I love it, love it, love it. And I can't, recommend it more than that. So there you go.
There you go. Nice. Good call out.
Yeah. Thanks.
Legendary Marvel Man says, just wanted to say I'm always waiting for ComicPOP. Love everything you do. Keep up the great work. Great job, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, Marvel Man. Appreciate it, man. So Strange Academy. A lot of people have been asking Tiffany's opinion about this. I'm very excited to actually jump into it.
Yeah, Strange Academy, written by Scotty Young.
Yeah.
With art by Humberto Ramos.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, they keep getting these artists that give me that, like, sort of Bocciolo feel.
Mm-hmm.
I would not compare those two, necessarily.
No.
But you get that, like, kind of, like, different art feel to it, which I think fits in with the Aaron sentiment, which works since Zelma's in it. Right. And Zelma was obviously created by Aaron.
Yep.
And you know what? I didn't want to get hyped for this book at all, just because at the time I was reading Wade's Strange, and it hasn't been something that I've really been enjoying until
just now.
So like I was not like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be like spectacular. It was a good book. It was a good read. I did enjoy it. Naturally, we're gonna start making connections to like a Gotham Academy, to Harry Potter.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They make their own connection to that like
they call it out immediately. So
they
you
call
don't think
it out
about
immediately.
Yeah.
We have our ride along character, Emily Bright. I gotta tell you, good name for like a ride along character, Emily Bright. Easy to remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like very easy to like just be like, okay, here she is. She's like, she has connection to magic. Ever since she was a baby, her parents were like, okay, we kind of got to hide this. Don't tell anybody about it, that kind of thing.
Okay, we're doing that.
And then inevitably, like, she has a dog that she's grown up with, like, it was a puppy when she was a baby, and it's grown up. It gets hit by a car. She accidentally, like, basically saves it from death.
Right.
And, like, then doesn't feel good about it.
Okay.
Like inside, like, something's wrong because magic has a cost. She's sitting by a tree, and she like tries to like learn how to control her magic a little bit by like looking online about like connecting to everything and what have you.
Yeah.
And ends up like conjuring or connecting to something that like the tree comes to life and is like a monster. Oh. And then Zelma shows up and helps her to defeat it.
Yeah.
And then tells her parents, like, listen, you have to let her come to this school because otherwise she's not going to be able to... It's basically like X-Men.
Because she's a mutant. Magic. I mean, a magic person.
Yeah, but it's like, this is going to get worse. And, like, things are going to keep coming for her because they're going to be able to sense that she has magic. And, like, inevitably there's not going to be anything left of her to come for.
Oh.
And, like, if initially they're like, she's not going to, like, she's not, like, some, like, storybook character, blah, blah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, ha, 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 Harry Potter, right there it is. Get that out of the way.
Sure.
Inevitably, her parents, like, let her go. And when they get there, the school is in Louisiana. It's in New Orleans. And
we know who that is.
Yeah. And so then, like, they go to this gate, which seemingly there's nothing behind it. Obviously, when they open it up, like, oh, there's the school, whatever, right?
It's a pretty double-page splash.
It is a lovely double-page splash. It's very nice. Very nice. By the way, I did obviously get a variant cover on it. I love sketches.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. Like, I love a finished piece, but, like, there's something so alive about a pencil sketch. Yes. There's just such movement to it. And, like, you know, even when there's little errors. Anyway, moving on. But we get to meet the rest of the cast of characters. There's, a fairy who is, like, her roommate. She's bubbly. She's like Pinkie Pie. Right. Like, she immediately is just like, you're great. I like you so much. She likes everybody, but, like, ends up being her roommate. They meet two brothers, two twins from Asgard.
Okay.
Let's see. It's Eric and Alvi. Eric is more of a Thor, and Alvi's more of a Loki, but he's not, like, sinister or anything like that.
No, he's weaker.
Well, he's
seemingly weaker.
He's got the glasses and, like, you know, what have you. But they're both magic users. Frost Giant shows up along with Loki, who's just like, and here's my student. And let's not forget that during the run where Loki was Sorcerer Supreme for a very small window of time,
Mm-hmm.
he had a thing for Zelma.
Oh.
And so, like, we pick up on that here, where he, like, hits on her for a second. She's like, back off.
It's like, no.
Just sit over there.
Thanks for reading the book, but no.
Yeah. Have a seat, man. And then Kid Dormammu shows up, basically. And I was like, that's where I was like,
Really?
okay.
Kid Dormammu?
They don't call him Kid Dormammu. That's what I'm calling him.
Well, he might as well be called
His
that.
name's Doyle. It's Doyle Dormammu.
Nope, Kid Dormammu.
Kid Dormammu shows up.
Is that his son?
That's what. Yeah, they are.
Is it secretly Dormammu in disguise?
I don't know. He seems.
Probably.
He seems too happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Adjusted.
Okay.
Loki immediately has an issue with this. He's like, "You were giving me a hard time about having someone come here because I'm a bad guy," and then this shows up, and
Right.
they're like, they don't really have an answer to that. Like,
Yeah.
they're just kind of like, yeah. It's like as though he wasn't supposed to still be here.
Right. You're supposed to drop him off and leave.
Yeah, you're supposed to go home. You're too attached. We get like a general like, here's what the classes are gonna be like, and like cool, and like all this stuff, and like here's this kid from Weird World, and like he's here too, and
Yeah.
like we'll just meet. Here's the cast of characters we're gonna have to worry about.
Right.
We meet
Here
each of
they
the cast
are.
of characters, right? Like there's someone from the Dark Dimension, and Dormammu's son, and
Yep.
we got the kids from Asgard and the Frost Giant. So obviously there's gonna be some infighting there.
Yep.
We've got a bunch of like humans who are there who are magic users. One who may or may not have a deep dark secret that the person from the Dark Dimension knows about.
Oh, no.
She's of course a little weird and off kilter. We've got that quirky kind of personality going on there.
Right.
We've got like the fun-loving like kid who's just like excited because he like they split the brothers up as roommates. One goes with Dormammu's son and they hate each other.
Okay.
The other one goes with this kid who's just like, oh my god, you're from Asgard. Do you know Thor?
Right.
And he's like, there are a lot of people in Asgard, and Thor's kind of a big deal. No, I don't. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Do you know Odin? He's like,
That's bigger?
yeah.
No.
Like what? No.
I think he's dead.
Yeah, well, but he doesn't. Like, this kid doesn't know.
No,
that.
I know.
So then, regardless, like they have like an opening ceremony where Brother Voodoo shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm like in charge of this. Like I'm like gonna be running the school basically because even though it's Strange Academy, Doctor Strange is too busy to be running the school.
Right. He's in too many books.
So then he's like, "Here are like our guest teachers," which I was like, I appreciated that because I was worried that they were gonna commit to having like Hellstrom and Scarlet Witch and magic. Be like,
Yeah,
you
all the
can't-
magic
You
people.
can't just be tethered here.
No.
You've got crap you got going on.
Yeah.
But no, they'll just bomb in when they can. Nika Minro is mentioned, and so is Shaman. I was like, hey, Shaman, I haven't seen you literally since Jason Aaron's run.
Right.
But that was the female Shaman.
Oh.
I think. It's been a while. And then they're kind of like, cool. What about Doctor Strange? Which, by the way, Doyle Dormammu asks about that. Kid Dormammu asks about that. Like, he's like, what? Like, isn't this his school? And they're like, Brother Voodoo's like, yeah, he'll show up when he can, I guess. A huge portal opens up, and like all these like crazy tentacles, including the black and white striped Botchalo, like evocative,
Entity,
like.
yeah.
It's not even necessarily that entity. It's just something, and like Strange is like fighting, and he's like, hey, everybody. First day here. Who wants to get involved?
Right.
And so he like enlists the help of the kids, and they all like fight it back and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then the last page or so is kind of where it falls apart for me because like Strange is like kind of out of character, but like, hey, you know what? Like we're just kind of diving into this. You know, like I have a particular like way I think that Strange should act, and we are following that like again that sort of errant feel. But this is even out of character, I think, a little bit there. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's like not gonna be good. I think it's just. You had like 3 speech bubbles with him, so I can't really judge it necessarily.
Right.
But like basically, like Strange is just like, you know, try to soak it all in and try not to die. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Har 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 har.
Right. What I think is interesting though is that like they're trying to train the next generation of magicians or magic users for like to take over and like, you know, protect the world. That like the end Doctor Strange book kind of covered that where like, and I was like, that's so weird because that takes place in the What If universe.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well, it's just the future. We don't know.
No, that was clearly the What If universe.
No, but like it's set in the future. We never got a flashback that tells you what happens.
Yeah, but that the end was literally set from that What If magic book. So
right.
No. So regardless, like I think the book is fun. I think this is like something that is really going to be easy for people to jump into if they're not used to reading a Doctor Strange book, because you're not necessarily reading a Doctor Strange book.
Right.
I think this is going to be appealing to a kind of more broad audience.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a really positive way, where it's like, if you have somebody who like digs magic, but maybe they don't read Marvel Comics, this is probably the book at this point to put in their hands, where it's like, there's going to be someone they like, and like they're going to learn along the way a little bit more about these characters. Like, I don't think Scotty Young's just going to throw you in the deep end with like not explaining who they are as we go along. So there it is. I read it.
And you thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, and I did think it was kind of fun.
Yeah. Sham Shaw, hey guys, going to sleep soon. Just wanted to pop in and say hi.
Hi,
Hello.
hopefully you're still there. Sorry I talked so long.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Dr. Comic helping us out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Inspired by you, my favorite YouTube channel, I started making comic videos in Arabic on my Instagram channel.
Oh, nice.
I hope to introduce comics to more readers in my region. This is my thanks to all your videos. For all your videos, your fan from Kuwait, Dr. Comic.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great idea,
that's
man.
amazing.
Good call. Congratulations, and a great place to try, because Instagram, of course, has a wide audience. So.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Good luck with that. Like, seriously, good luck with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I know, like, sometimes it can be an uphill battle to get folk into comics, and when they get there, they're like, oh, man, what have I been missing?
Right, that's
true. So,
true.
like, I don't envy you, but I think it's a good endeavor.
Definitely.
The last Doctor Strange book that I'm going to talk about is Savage Avengers.
Oh.
Which was, like, the cover of this was Doctor Strange and Elektra making out.
Right.
Which I was like...
Which probably happens for one panel, and that's it.
It does not happen.
Doesn't even happen at all.
It does... Well, it's alluded to.
All right.
No. It in a really, like,
I get you.
competent way, because, again, this is written by Jerry Duggan with art by Butch...
Geis?
Juice? Geis? I don't know. I'm sorry, Butch. Strange is at home, and he's kind of like thinking about everything that's been going on with Cullen Gath, and the fact that Cullen Gath clearly wants Strange's power.
Okay.
And he's like, I need to learn more about this, and here's my plan. Cullen Gath bled all over the cloak, and I'm going to use that because DNA has like
magical traces.
Yeah, and I can go back into his history and learn about who he is.
Awesome.
Fine, whatever. I'm like, you know what?
Whatever.
I don't care. Because it's not like he's like a regular dude. He is a wizard or a sorcerer. Fair enough. So I'm like, fine.
No complaints.
He has Elektra there to help protect him.
What about Wong?
Wong has not been, like, Wong's dealing with the hotel. And so if this is taking place now, he's been, like, over there.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? And so he asks Elektra to come, and, like, it is very obvious that the two of them spent the evening together.
Oh.
And I'm like...
Okay.
I guess she was just like, all right.
Well, why not?
Why not?
Okay. I've hooked up with Punisher and Daredevil.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not Doctor Strange? Give it a shot, right? But like, she says like I'm not usually contemplating murder the morning after the first date.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, you like that kiss is like that happened, and then and now we're reading the book,
right?
So, like, basically, he's like, here's what's going to happen. I am going to, like, astral project and, like, essentially travel through time through my astral projection. And, like, if at any point in time, like, I'm going to be telling you what I'm seeing and stuff like that. Yeah. If at any point in time I won't be able to hear you, but it seems like things are going wrong for me, you have to inflict pain on me so that I come back.
Right.
And she's like, got it.
Can do.
I'm in.
Yeah.
And his plan is, like, he'll twirl his mustache. Ha, ha, ha. So he goes, and, like, basically this is, like, the opportunity for the Jerry to be like, hey, let's learn a little bit more about Cullen Gath if you're not really familiar with him, because Cullen Gath has had a history with Doctor Strange. He's had a history with Conan.
Yes.
This is the character, by the way, I was thinking of that had a history with Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So you can imagine, because I have a let's talk about who this character is.
Yep.
And let's talk about who this character is in Strange. I was like, all right. So we go back in time. We see that, like, Cullen Gath is a little boy who actually slew the real sorcerer Cullen Gath.
Okay.
And then took his name and place.
Oh.
And then wanted to learn more about magic and kept, like, trying to get people to teach him. He goes to that time's Sorcerer Supreme. Oh. It's the Hyborian Age, which I was like, oh, he's gone back.
Cool.
He's like, okay, right on. The Sorcerer Supreme then, like, denies him.
Right.
He's just like, I think not. He goes to, like, a room full of, like, wizardly scholars or what have you, and he's just like, help me unlock this text. I can't unlock this, and, like, I'll trade you something. And they're like, A, you've got nothing to trade for, and B, if you can't unlock this text, you're not meant to have this knowledge.
Right.
And so he, like, attacks the person who's, like, denying him.
Yeah.
And in doing so, like, he, like, bites his, like, neck or, like, face, And he's just like, it wouldn't be his first murder, nor would it be his last, but it was like the most like vicious and the most like, like personal.
Gotcha.
But he finds that there's power in blood, and when he eats his flesh, he gains his power and knowledge.
Right.
And so we discover, Cullen Gath's cannibal.
Right. Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, that flashes back to the beginning of Savage Avengers. Which
Yes,
is the whole,
with the whole blood thing. There's power in blood.
Yeah.
Which is funny because obviously when Aaron was doing Conan, we're talking about like the blood god.
Yeah.
There's power in blood. Okay? Blood, snakes, you're in a Conan book. Okay?
Right.
If you run into those two things a lot in your life, watch out. Because Conan's going to punch you in the face.
And take your wallet.
And take your wallet. Strange follows Gath throughout his life and finds that, like, he's, of course, run into the elder god, Shumar-Gorath. And Shumar-Gorath is depicted in a way that, like, looks like the other guy we saw in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not him. It's not connected to that. But it's just a really, like, cool version of Shumar-Gorath.
Yeah, it's not your Marvel vs. Capcom Shumar-Gorath.
No, it's, like, honestly, like, a horrific elder version of him. And I'm like, this is neat, and I dig it a lot. And
I like multiple versions of Shuma.
Right? Like, it's, like, changed throughout the ages.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's neat. And, like, Strange is, of course, like, horrified by this. We see that, like, he, like, sees Conan's interference with Cullen Gath, and he's just like,
oh.
And he's just like, I was wrong.
Maybe I shouldn't have ditched him.
Exactly. And he's like, I'm happy to be wrong about that, because, like, this is a good, like, thing to have on our side.
Yeah,
like,
I guess I'll have to convince him not to kill me.
Conan has constantly just, like, been there for Gath, and, like, each time he's killed him, and then he comes back, and he's just like, all right. We stop in where, like, Cullen Gath goes after the Sorcerer Supreme who denied him.
Right.
And he's just like, screw you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to eat you, and I'm going to gain the information I needed anyway.
Yeah.
And so, since Strange is there, like, the Sorcerer Supreme starts, like, speaking in English. And Cullen Gath can't understand it back then.
Sure.
And so he's just like, I didn't expect you to suddenly be babbling tongues already. Ha ha ha. And, like, he's just like, show yourself. And Strange is like, hey, I can't help you because I can't interfere on this time. And he's like, no, that's cool. I get it.
But watch out for this guy.
Yeah, he's like, not only watch out for this guy, but, like, he's an apex predator. And, like, maybe the issue isn't that you guys keep killing him. It's what you're killing him with. Like, you're not killing him with the right thing.
Okay.
And, like, Strange is like, got it. Cool. And so then, like,
good luck.
He dies. We check in with Elektra, who's, like, literally, like, throwing an orb that's probably important just over and over again into the cloak.
Oh, cool.
That's
funny.
Then he comes back and he's like, okay, cool. He's like, I was rash to dismiss Conan. We need him back. And she's like, don't worry, I know how to find him.
Oh, what?
And I'm like,
I slept with him too.
Right? And so then we see, like, this sweet, like, image of what's to come where it's like Brother Voodoo, I think, Elektra, Conan, and Doctor Strange, and they're all wearing, like, those, like, Starro-like Shumar-Gorath crowns. And I'm like, ooh, what's going on?
That's cool.
Like, I just, like, again, I've not been following Savage Avengers, so for me, Elektra just pops out of nowhere. But,
right.
like, I'm, like, weirdly on board for their, like, weird, like, not relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, this makes sense. I don't know why I'm, like, okay with this, but I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it seems cool.
Yep, I'm in.
I hear you.
Right on.
This is a good book.
It is, and, like, I kind of want to go back and, like, fill in the gap to, like, find out, like, when, like, to see the lead up to Strange coming into, like, this whole thing. Because I'm like, Cullen Gath, when we originally heard that Conan was coming back and, like, Marvel was going to be integrating him, like, Cullen Gath was my linchpin, and they're using it anyway. So I'm just like, yay! And Shumar-Gorath too. And I'm like, this is literally what I wanted. So, like, I'm going to support it by continuing to buy it because, yeah.
That's how you do it.
And I also like Dugan, however you want to say his name.
Right.
Strange. I like him writing Strange. I think he does a really good job with it. And I just dig it.
Yeah.
Dig it the most.
Charles Burrows says, any chance of doing Hellblazer back issues ever? Yeah, there's a big chance.
Mm-hmm.
Not soon, but, like, there is a chance.
Yeah.
Ronald says, Kid Dormammu giving me Kid Gladiator flashbacks. Yeah, I mean, Kid anybody, really.
He's not Kid Dormammu. He does have a name, but, like, literally I saw him, I was like,
call him that.
It's Kid Dormammu. Got it. Moving on.
Exactly. Saudathani says, hello, how's it going?
Hey, how are ya?
And also, sorry, Butch, I butchered your name.
Yeah. I wish I had thought of that.
Right? Yeah. How apropos.
Damn it.
But no, but hey, man, hope you're doing well. Eddie Eckenberg says, imagine if they did a Sailor Moon Moon Knight crossover. Imagine them posing together saying, in the name of the moon, I will punish you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would cost more than Marvel would ever want to spend to get those characters to appear in a Western book. Heroing 2.0 says, do you guys think you enjoy stories that have a definitive end like Marvel's or Spidey life story more than an ongoing series? Or does it really depend on the story? Thanks for being one of the best YouTubers and great content. Thank you, Heroing 2.0. In my opinion, I believe that it really does depend on the story. Obviously, like with a definitive ending or an original graphic novel, like kind of like cyclical or like definitive ending, you can judge it without having to like worry about the next thing. But you know, some of those things don't always end the way you want them to or well. So, you know, and of course there's also like runs, you know, like there's there's a writer's entire run or like stints of a run. Like I do enjoy a bunch of Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man, but there's an equal proportion of stuff that I don't like. So, you know, there's good and bad, and there's greatness and, you know, lows depending on how long that run goes on. So I like both. But I find that, you know, if it's contained into a thing, it's like easier to digest and therefore easier to judge. Than if you're reading it month to month. Month to month is harder. You got to read it. No matter what, you are going to read it by going back and like putting it all together as one thing, you know? So, you know, I guess definitively, you know, those stories that have an ending, I like the most. But mostly just because that's how I like stories. I like stories to have a beginning, middle, and end. Even if the end is, and then he went on more adventures, or, you know, or they did more stuff. Yeah. And it all happened in continuity. Like, that's fine. But I'm reading it for what I'm doing right now.
Right.
You know, what about you?
I think, yeah, I agree. It definitely depends on the story, but I think 9 times out of 10, I like something with an ending. Yeah. As sad as I am to see an ending sometimes, like, I'm happy that it's there because it's like, I don't know. There's something about not letting something go on for so long that it becomes not good. Or
that's the thing.
Or it changes so much that it's not what originally it started as, or it loses its way. There are a lot of books where it's like, I don't even necessarily need a sequel, even if there's a definitive ending to it. Like, I'm okay. Right. Like, it's seemingly you want more, and then you, like, for me, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I don't. Like, that's for me is Witches. Yeah. Like, the first volume of Witches, I'm good. I know that's not maybe the most satisfying ending. No, but for me, I'm like, that's an ending. Yeah. Like, I'm okay with this.
Plus, like you're also aware of it potentially being bad if it keeps going.
Sure. No, there's always that potential.
Like, there's the concern that if you add, it's already great. Yeah. If you add to it, you can only make it worse.
Right. Exactly. Like, you know,
the risk isn't worth this ending.
What's funny is, like, you can even have something that has a definitive ending, even if it goes on for a long time. If you look at Sandman. Yeah. There is a definitive ending. It doesn't feel like it's a run because it's like 10 volumes. Right. Yeah. But there's a definitive ending. And
you could keep going.
Well.
As they have.
Well, yeah. But yes and no. Because that story is done.
Right. That story.
They then did do Overture. But
that's what I'm saying.
But like, that was
But Overture's kind
of its own thing. You could read it. Yeah. Whatever. But fair enough. So.
Doom 2814. Will we ever see Man and Superman by Wolfman on back issues? I think it's probably a good idea. I have 2 Superman books that I want to do on back issues, or that I will probably do on back issues. Superman doesn't really do very well on this channel as often as we've done it before. Superman versus the Earth Stealers was the first like huge failure we've ever did, and I was like, never gonna do that again. Like, I assumed like, oh, Superman's part of the pantheon, like Batman, Spider-Man, maybe Superman, and no, the answer is no. So Man and Superman is close enough because it's new enough, but I have other stuff that we'll do. Yeah. And Flywheel Shyster helping us out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Daniel Ingram, rare live viewing. Thanks for all the fun. Thank you, Daniel, for hanging out with us. So yeah, let's talk about Batman, huh? Batman number 90.
This is the DC portion of the show. Yeah. I realized I did all my Marvel, and I have a DC book after this.
Oh, great. So. So Batman. Yeah, there it is. This is, of course, from James Tynion IV with art by Jorge Jimenez. Finally, Jimenez is on the book.
So good.
Just from an art perspective, the book is great. It looks great. It feels great. I will say that having seen some preview pages from this issue, and then seeing those preview pages with the text balloons, for some reason, it seems to have lost its vibrancy. I don't know if it was like the transfer or something, but like the page that where Batman and Selina talk to each other, which is the scene that Jimenez, I think, tweeted or showed everybody. It just doesn't pop like it did when I first saw it. And it could be because I'm seeing it again, but for some reason it's just not as bright. It's not as dynamic, and it's probably the coloring, but the coloring also was part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much.
Maybe he played with it a little before he posted
he could have futzed with it before it
got
came
posted out there.
But,
well, I mean, like before he posted it on Twitter, it's
right,
just like Brighton filter, whatever.
I don't know,
but like I liked it. I didn't see any preview pages, so I was seeing all this fresh.
Yeah. So the whole thing's a flashback and introducing retconning in a new character called the Designer. Yeah. Also known as the Over-Designer, because he is over-designed. But the idea.
But he's got the big D.
He's got the big D on his face. Cool.
Please don't ban us.
He looks cool. He looks fine. You know, I weighed that in my head because I was like, if I complain about how the Designer looks, people are gonna say that I don't like anything, and I really am sick of hearing that. So like, what do I?
I mean, it's true though.
Yeah, right. It is. Yeah, you're so original for saying it.
My sarcasm.
But I don't know. Like, he's just overly. He's got all this shit going on. Like, it's just he's very busy.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what design I really enjoyed? Onomatopoeia. Like, just a Doppler image and a coat. Like,
yeah.
Just simplicity. But I think Bullseye has a great costume.
Right.
You know, it's I like simplicity.
But I think that is a taste.
That's a taste. That's not
an actual, like, dig at the book, because, like, honestly, I think it's a taste thing. I didn't really pay any mind to it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I will. So the whole.
Okay, I will say one thing. There's one thing I noticed that for me was like mildly out of place.
Right.
Which was like I saw him and I was like, huh. And then we get his backstory and I was like, yeah, no, my I think was accurate. And it's the camo pants.
Yeah. What?
So for me, and like again, this is like
but like they're puffy and like regal.
I don't care about the puffy and regal thing.
Oh, but like
it's the
why
camo.
are they camo?
Well, I'm like seemingly this guy is older than he seems.
Right.
Based on this history, false or not, I don't know. Like he's
Probably.
seemingly older than he seems. Mm-hmm. The whole thing's very like over the top and like whatever. And then you have these camo pants, and I was like, say what now?
Yeah.
Like that was my like. Yeah. Oh, okay, moving on.
Yeah. That being said, at the top of the thing, I loved the issue. It was like this was the start of Tynan's run.
This was like you know what's funny is I read this issue and I was like, this is great. I bet Sal thinks it's great too.
Yeah, I did. I like it more than I don't give a shit about Deathstroke or any of that crap. This is what I want for Batman, and it's like funny because I know that like Snyder was like, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I'm like, well, guess what? Most of us want that. The whole thing's a flashback where Selina tells Batman like the truth about how basically the main villains were called by the Designer to a secret, like, phantom mansion in the middle of the harbor.
Not the main, because like you could
Joker,
say
Riddler, and Catwoman, Penguin are like.
They're like.
I'm surprised Harvey wasn't called, but like.
But like there's something like he likes their style. He likes like the way they do.
Well, that's the thing is that like if you look back, like yes, some of the top villains are like Mr. Freeze and Two-Face, and but like those stories are pretty spotty. Like, if you can count 5 great Two-Face and or Mr. Freeze stories, I will applaud you.
We have that, yes. No.
But, like, Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Selina, they all have their own very distinct thing that has never really changed.
Right. What I really dig about it is obviously, like, all of Batman's villains really display a certain element of Batman, but, like, we definitely have, like, an interesting, like, smattering here of, like, the different personality, either, like, mirrors or, like, opposites of Batman here. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's true. Brains, insanity, love, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Money. So anyway, the Designer's like, come on to my house, and and basically, I've been doing this forever. I fought Zorro or whatever, and, it's not really Zorro. But...
No, but he has, like, an old-timey swordsman fight, which was so funny, because that made me think of Curse of the White Knight.
Yeah, big time. No, I also thought of that. But yeah, he has a swashbuckling adventure where like, and for me it felt very like Count of Monte Cristo or Zorro, where it was like I was like locked in this never-ending battle with this hero, and eventually I realized that like the way I was doing it was wrong, and I needed to like think 10 steps ahead of him.
Right.
So
I needed to power level my character by killing boars.
Yeah, boars. So I like your style, and so I want to help you. I want to have like a counseling session with all of you.
Yeah, he's like they brought in a consultant.
Yeah, but like they didn't ask for him. He's like, it's like he was like there to pitch them him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna really revolutionize the way you do business. So they each go to the Designer and go into a room with him, and they tell him about like what their biggest, wildest aspiration is, and then he helps them achieve it by like creating this like multi-year step plan.
Well, no, they pitch them like the biggest crime they could think of,
right?
And then he like picks it apart, like
yeah,
as
like
Batman.
how I'm gonna beat you.
They're like, this is how Batman would take you down, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you think bigger.
Now let's figure this out. Like,
exactly.
how do we outthink him? And then
right.
we'll just keep outthinking him. And for my payment, whenever you pull off your caper, I get half.
Yeah. And that's a lot.
It's
but
a
if
minor
it's the,
fee,
but if the biggest caper ever, then half
of
still,
the biggest caper ever is still a lot.
Still a lot, but like more than you would have gotten before. Mm-hmm. So everyone works out great, and like after each counseling session, like they talk to each other, like, "Oh my God, I couldn't imagine how awesome this could have been."
Yeah, Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, they're all like in. This is like really, I think, important to the Bruce-Selina relationship. This issue has like these little moments for her from her past that they kind of retcon in there that like the fact when she sees the Joker there, she's uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
She's just like, no, this guy is bad news. He like I was in it for the thrill and I'm in it for like
but he's doing something else. Like even Penguin I get, but like and Riddler maybe.
And like Riddler's hitting on her, she's like back off, but like that guy, no.
He should not have been called. Like it was like the designer he saw like the list of the rogues and was like, well, let's get the most popular ones. And he didn't know about the Joker. He just invited him, and Joker's like, I'll come and kill you probably. And so, and I knew that was coming. Like, but in a satisfying fan way.
Yeah.
Where like Selina's the last one, and then she comes out and she passes Joker, and I'm like, there is no way that the designer will live to the end of this issue.
No, and it's funny because I saw this going down completely differently, which I thought was very refreshing for me because I was just like, oh, this was like a turn. Like I was with you on that,
right?
But I thought it was going to happen differently, like entirely differently.
Yeah, this is for me. It felt like a Marvel DC crossover, like where a villain that doesn't know who any of these people are tries to team up with the villains of Batman and then severely underestimates how insane all of them are.
Right, or especially one of them.
Particularly the Joker.
Yeah.
And it's great because essentially they're there for a long time, and then the designer just blasts out of the room and tells all of his henchmen to murder just kill all of them.
I
kill
need
them
to
all.
Start over.
Like, I made a mistake trying to team up with Batman villains.
Yeah,
like if Joker's the indication, they all need to go.
Right.
And because they're Batman villains, they turn the tables and Joker just assassinates the designer. Just shoots him in the back
Presumably,
of the head.
They took all their weapons, but no, he's
Joker's
still
like,
down.
oh, I kept one, lol.
So this is where when Selina's talking about the Joker going in there, that they were in there for hours.
Yes.
So, everyone was there for an hour or so, but the Joker was in there for hours, and I was like, I thought inevitably Nigma
was gonna open the door and he was gonna be
dead, and Joker was just hanging out in there, and I was
I thought
that's
that
insane.
Too. I like that. I like
him
that
just
better.
hanging out, oh hey,
yeah. Oh, you finally checked.
Oh, I killed him in the first 5 minutes. I've just been hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. I've just been taking his stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting, and so when this went down like this, where it's no, he was sitting there listening to him the whole time.
Right, designer was letting him talk,
and he's
so he could get an indication as to how messed up the Joker is.
Oh no.
Yeah. So they kill all the they kill all the henchmen, they burn the house down, and they swear an oath to never tell anybody about it. Yeah. But they also they're like, damn it, we can't use the designer's plans really because they'll never really because his backing and his influence won't help us achieve it.
Right. What I think is interesting is there's a mystical quality to this character, to his henchmen.
Right, well, the house comes out of nowhere.
Right,
the henchmen are ferrymen who have glowing bodies and stuff.
What I like about that is it whether or not it's real, because he may come back in a Scooby-Doo-esque sort of way where it's he's back.
We designed this character.
How could this be possible?
Yeah.
Right? It's Rachel Gould. No. But it gives me if there is no mysticism to it, it gives me vibes of Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Where you have this villain who seemingly has this element of the supernatural.
Right.
And there's nothing
but it's
supernatural.
all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. I would love that. Also, that moment or that whole experience cinches for Selina why she would never work with Joker.
Right. What's funny is the book ends here basically,
yeah.
And for a moment I was like, oh my god, because she's talking about what happens next, and I was like, there's something she's not telling him, and he says that, And I was like, oh, what she's not telling him is that she then killed the Joker, and that's why the body's in.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no. Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
No,
we're not there yet.
No.
We're not there yet.
But essentially, Batman's like, yeah, I knew what you made. I knew the plan you made. Like, I already figured it out. Like, I just want you to say it to me. Which I was like, that's kind of dickish.
Well,
but all right, right on.
I get it. He's like, you have to be honest with me.
Right.
Like, we're together.
Yes.
Like, this isn't even like, I need to earn your trust. Like, we're together. You're supposed to tell me these things.
Yeah. I assumed this was going to be a breakup issue, too.
No, and like I'm really like I am impressed that Tynion just dealt with it.
Yeah,
I thought this was going to drag
I'm so
out
glad.
longer.
I was exactly with you. I was so concerned.
Yeah,
it was gonna be so boring.
Which I really shouldn't have been. It's Tynion. Like
yeah, but at the same time, like not the
have
first choice.
Yeah.
He's got to pad things out. Now the 5G is like they don't even know. I've heard things, and I don't want to get into too many rumors, but I have heard stuff.
I haven't.
I have heard shit that'll turn you white. No, I've heard anything from like the mouthpieces of DC and the people who are below pay grades are like, yeah, 5G, it's happening.
Right.
But the engineers are like, no, it's not happening, and you better come up with something else right now.
3 Jokers.
3 Jokers.
Distract them. Smoke and mirrors.
The plan should be bring Jeff Johns in as as chief creative officer. And just let him do what he
just
clearly
pulls out his binder.
Clearly has a binder. Like, what was your doomsday clock? What was your post doomsday clock pitch?
Yeah, what was the?
We'll do that.
The doomsday crisis.
Clearly, we don't care.
No.
Like, just do whatever.
Well, who knows?
But I'm so glad that it's like an actual story.
Yeah, no, it's good, and it's interesting. I saw in the chat people were mentioning Tynion's Upside Down Man and what a great design that is. So there may be something to this that Tynion wanted this specifically.
True. Yeah. But yeah,
to not make you think of anything in particular because of maybe who the reveal is of the character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, no, I don't want you to think of anything else because it's like, I don't want you to try to guess who this is.
Yeah. There is also a little bit of concern, though, about the relationship because when Batman leaves, he says, you've launched this thing against Bruce Wayne. I'm about to lose everything. Like, we're going to work this out, solve my problem, and then you're gone.
No.
I think we're there. I think we're going there.
You think you're going there? You think they're gonna?
Yep. Because there's going to be a book about them being married, written by Tom King.
The designer is the devil.
Oh, and he one more days them.
And that's what Joker told him about.
Yeah, he's like,
that's his plan.
Yeah. Oh, that. Oh. So anyway, is that it before we get to the last book of the night?
That is it.
All right, let's talk about Strange Adventures, Tom King's latest book.
You knew I was picking this up. I mentioned it last week that this was coming out, and like I was definitely gonna to check it out because I wanted to see a Tom King who has been through a lot more in terms of being a creator.
Yeah.
Between Mr. Miracle and now. Right. And I think we got that in this, and I'm not.
By the way, the book that was not a Batman book that the guy's holding.
No, it's Batman Spirit.
No, it's Sheriff of Babylon.
Is it Sheriff of Babylon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. Look at that. It's him and Mitch Gerrits. Okay,
yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to there. So yeah,
Strange Adventures.
So I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this book because I actually did enjoy this book.
I did too. I thought it was brilliant.
Did you read it?
Yep, I loved it.
Yay! Okay, cool. Wow, you read it. I was like, I read it first because I wanted.
I know, yeah.
And I was like, you should.
Yeah, no, I read it.
I didn't think you'd get a chance to.
No, I did.
That's cool. And is that the main cover?
Yeah.
I like this cover better than the happy one.
I agree.
I think this is a better cover. This is the Mitch Gerrits one.
Yeah.
Because there's also Evan Shaner who works on this.
Yeah, and it's a great cover.
Well, no, but he also does like the
happy stuff, the flashbacks.
Stuff. I was like, oh, that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, the horse shit that isn't real that you could never believe in. Yeah, because I'm Tom King.
Right, hang on there.
Yeah. So this story, believe it or not, stars a very sad man and a very powerful woman who helps him like facilitate his PTSD.
All right, relax.
I'm just saying, like.
But seemingly, okay. So let's all like. I also have to acknowledge that there's been an interview circulating that they're using as an ad about like this book.
Yeah.
And that he says that this is not about that
trauma.
Yeah, he says it's not about that it's about like what you like the way truth is portrayed.
Right. Fine.
Okay, and I think we get a little bit of everything here because okay, so there's obviously an element to this that is Tom King putting himself and his experiences in here. Yes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily.
Every writer does it, but some do it a little bit more than others.
And so, like, Tom King has a very specific. We all have a very specific life, and we have a very specific like history.
Yeah.
But Tom King definitely has a specific one, and we've seen him pull from that at times. And I think that like some writers they've got like a well, and they're gonna pull from that well, and that's what they know, and he wants to write what he knows.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And this is what he knows.
Sure.
And we see that Adam Strange is a writer, he's an author, and he's written a book, and he's at a signing. And the reason I want to bring this up is because obviously Tom King has been through signings. And we see him at this bookstore, and we get like punctuated with other scenes, Adam being like, "Hi, I'm Adam, and what can I sign for you?" We see a woman who comes up to him and is just like, "I'm really glad you put the part in about your daughter and losing her, because like I've experienced that as well, and like it made me cry, and like thank you for putting that in there."
Right.
We see another gentleman come up who's just like, "Hey, thank you for your service."
Yep.
Which I'm gonna guess Tom King has experienced. I'm guessing he's experienced both of these things.
I feel like he's experienced all of those
I know.
things.
I'm getting to there.
But yes.
But he's just like, it means a lot, like, what you did, and like, all this stuff, and like, you're really cool. He is holding a copy of Strange Adventures, which is the book that Adam Strange has written.
Yep.
Holding a copy of Mr. Miracle, written by Tom King, and holding a copy of Sheriff of Babylon, written by Tom King.
Yeah.
Say what you will, and he's wearing a Batman shirt.
And he's wearing a Batman shirt.
He's wearing a Batman shirt.
There you go.
And so that for me is like Tom King kind of giving us an idea of what it's like for him.
Right.
To go to signings.
And also don't forget, like, they use the exact same panel when he has Adam Strange has the same reaction and interaction with every single person like, despite how they approach him.
Yeah, and like, like I thought that was interesting because it's like you automatically assume like when you go up to a creator, it's like you don't really think about the amount of people they've interacted with the day.
Right.
Like for the day. Maybe it's a few, maybe it's a lot, but each of them has their own story. Some people are just going to be like, sign the book and I'm leaving. But some of them like are going to share a part of their lives with that individual.
Totally.
And that can be something that like weighs on you, not necessarily in a bad way, but it's like, oh man, I helped this person through this thing, but like now their emotional like experience is part of me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so like there's a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
We then see someone come up to him like screaming at him.
Yep.
And like, of course you could take this from the perspective of like Tom King's interactions with fans who are mad about his Batman run.
Yeah.
But they're very specific.
Or his Heroes in Crisis run.
Right. But they're very specific about talking about Adam Strange's experiences with saving Ran and like what he did to those poor Picts.
Yeah. So it could also be like King's like not talking about.
No, and
fandom.
And that's what
He's
I'm thinking.
Talking about
his military experience.
Yeah. And then being and that
and getting that side of it as well. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is like this for me. Like while having shades of Mr. Miracle is this character's different. Like he's broken in a different way.
He's broken a different way. His wife is a different type of strong.
Yeah. Well, and she's seemingly less supportive in a way
than Barda was.
Than Barda. Like the Barda Mr. Miracle relationship is like healthier.
Yes.
And like more honest.
Right. Well, it's less alien.
Mm-hmm. But even though that's not possible since she's,
Yeah. Well, they're both from Apocalypse.
Well, yeah.
Kind of. They're both from New Genesis.
Yeah. But like they're, anyway.
Yeah.
So then we get to see his experience at Rand, and it's like, here's an opportunity. Hey, you don't know who Adam Strange is? Adam Strange is like a pulp hero who his power is he's got a jetpack and a gun, and he got hit by a beam, seemingly very much like being abducted.
Yep.
He goes to Rand. He can like stay there as long as the Zeta beam allows him to do as much as he can before he fades back and comes here.
Right.
It's like a Shazam, but not.
It's like John Carter meets Shazam.
Yeah, exactly. So we get a feel for like what he did there, and like, It
doesn't feel like he did a lot. Like it's funny because whenever we see the flashbacks to his battles on Rand, they're very superficial.
Yeah.
They're very black and white.
Well,
they're not black and white, but they're very black and white in terms of like there are these bad guys with bad guy stuff that look like they're made out of toys, and he shouts, like pulpy kind of heroic dialogue at them, and shoots them with his laser gun.
Yeah, and like,
but we don't. But it's not like Tom King does that thing where he's like, okay, so he shoots them with a laser gun. It's fun, and then you see the aftermath, and they're like, their blood and everything's out. Like,
no. Like it's if what King says is true, like we're meant to question what is true here, which again I think is different than what he did in Mr. Miracle with what is reality.
Yeah.
Because, like, with Mr. Miracle, we were truly seeing it through Mr. Miracle's eyes.
Yep.
And so, like, we were questioning what was honestly happening here. This is who's telling us the truth, because like we're seeing it through a lot of different eyes. Mostly it is his, and of course Mitch Gerads does a phenomenal job of like punctuating King's dialogue.
Absolutely.
But I think Evan Shaner also does an incredible job of like punctuating that pulp feel.
Totally.
And like giving you that sensation of like, did this happen? Or is this an idealized version of what happened? And again, you have Tom King with this military background and knowing that, things like stories that are told about, what happens overseas may not be 100% accurate. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so
or even your perception may not be.
Right. Like, like you were the hero of your story. Yeah. And you were the hero for your people. But what happened on the other side? I'm wondering if we're going to see that at some point.
Totally.
So inevitably, like, we see a lot of like what's going on with the Picts. By the way, we deal with the fact that he has a daughter who clearly died. Yes. Right. And this is the aftermath of that. And remember, that was my Mr. Miracle pitch, is that I thought that we were seeing the book.
Yeah, the opening of the book was the end of the book.
Yeah, it was that like he tried to kill himself after like bartering his child away. Yep. Which is not what happened at all. But I'm like, oh, here we are.
Yeah, we're doing that
post death, and I'm like, haha, haha. This is Tom King does not watch the show.
If he ever did, he doesn't anymore.
But inevitably, one of the times that he gets like called back to Ran, because it's like two N's.
I call it Ran, but yeah.
Like,
but I'm a Philistine.
Like the things are not going well.
No.
And presumably the Picts are breaking through, and like they have to evacuate.
Yep.
And they're gonna have to just abandon their city and their castle, and the royal family has to flee, including his wife and daughter. Yep. And like he's like, don't worry, like we'll come back, but we need to get out now. Yep. And so like they get out and they get into like their little like literally saucer like spaceship, and he starts to fade away. And what's funny is when he started to fade away, I thought initially that was a moment that they were showing us that things were inaccurate, because like he's talking to his daughter, and then I was like, oh wait, he's fading away, never mind. Yeah. Because I thought it was like he was talking to his daughter and he's trying to be really supportive, and I was like, oh, what if the reality is he was not being supportive, he's screaming at her. No, he's just leaving.
Yeah, and so he couldn't be with them and protect them.
Right, he couldn't be with them and protect them, and like I'm like, was he flying? I hope not.
I assume he was.
But like his wife's in the front seat as well, so hopefully she knows how to fly as well, because she lived.
It's her place.
Yeah,
it's her
so
planet.
She better know what's up. But remember the guy who screamed at Adam Strange at the beginning?
The guy with the black canary shirt?
The black canary shirt, who like they show him screaming, and like it's like cool because he's wearing that shirt, but he's also like the way Jared's portrays it for us is like there's like a vibration to it, because if you've ever been in a situation where someone is screaming at you, there is an intensity there that like sometimes like feels like that's happening to you, whether or not it's actually happening.
Totally.
And while Strange is at another signing, after, of course, like the book being well received and like all these politicians being interested in him running for like office, any sort of office, all the way from mayor, possibly up to president. Yep. Everything starts falling apart because the guy who screamed at him is dead, and presumably from a laser blast.
Yeah, because his head is missing.
Yeah, it's just exploded. Mm-hmm. Graphic image coming.
Yep.
And so things are starting to fall apart, and like his wife's furious because she's like, "That's not possible. Like, you have no idea." Like what the Picts did to my people, and like you have no idea how much Adam helped us, and he would never do that. And just all of these things. So he gives like a press conference where he just says like, I didn't do that, and those are all, it's just all rumors and it's crap. Yeah. And then we see, of course, the news come in and being like, I can't believe like, he said that, because like he didn't really deny anything, and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like completely just denies denies what he said. Yeah. And the other person's like, what, are you crazy? Like, what are you supposed to do? List every single thing? Yeah. Like, no. And I thought that was interesting because, again, if we're talking about that whole truth thing, the idea of, like, them questioning the truth. Like, them questioning his truth. Yes. Inevitably, he's like, here's my plan. And I'm like, this is a solid plan.
It's a great plan.
Solid.
It's the kind of plan that the fan community would immediately ask them to do.
Solid plan. And a Strange goes to Batman, who's a friend of his, and goes like, hey, here's my gun. I want you to prove I didn't do it because I didn't do it.
And come at me, like, with everything you've got. Yeah. Like, complete, because I'm so sure I didn't do it. Yeah. You can, like, I want you to prove it for everybody.
I kind of dig Mitch Gerads' Batman.
I love it. It looks great.
It's really cool. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I love his city. I love his people. Like, I love everything about it. Well, like,
again, Batman's the kind of character who can take that grime.
Yeah, he should. Yeah.
Like, he can take it, handle it, embrace it, roll around in it.
Well, it's like you can have the grime, or you can have, like, a Nick Darrington book where it's like, it's just like, wee.
Yeah, you can have either. But, like, he could handle Jared's work.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Batman's like, I'm not gonna do it. We're friends. It's
Yep.
not gonna necessarily mean anything, and I don't want to. I basically doesn't want to uncover these rocks. Like he doesn't want to turn them over.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. It's a funny portrayal. It's like a more emotional Batman than you'd seen before, where he's
Right.
and you're not sure why he doesn't say no. He tells Strange like, I'm not gonna do it because like I'm your friend. But
Yeah.
it's like, does he not? Does Batman believe in him?
Right. Like
And
he may
he's
not,
like, I don't want to prove that you're, because I know I'll solve the mystery.
Yeah.
I don't want
There's
to
no
prove that you
question
actually
about
did
that. Yeah, exactly. Like,
it. Or
maybe-
is it like, I don't think I'll be able to do a good job?
No, I assumed it was like I don't want to find out.
Like that
truth.
you're a piece
I
of
don't
shit.
want to find out the truth. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like, and I got a whole city. I don't have time for this
Yeah.
crap. We see in like their bedroom of like what is seemingly their hotel, but I'm guessing is their home.
Right.
That like he has a picture of his family and it's covered in blood.
We saw that earlier in the book too, and I was like, that was the first thing I noticed. I'm like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
like immediately you're like their family photos covered in blood,
Yeah, exactly.
like their family's born in blood, or that like,
Or like maybe like whatever happened to his daughter caught. I don't know because we haven't obviously even solved that mystery yet.
yeah.
But
But get used to 9-panel grids because that also happens.
yeah, 9 panels grid.
He loves that.
He does, but like I think that Jared's
He doesn't use it a lot.
He doesn't use it a lot, but when he does use it, like it's to punctuate something.
He knows you're aware of it, so he's using it
He is,
specifically.
but like he also does it at times where he like uses the 9-panel grid, but breaks that grid by like using the 9 panels, but like one of the images or maybe a couple of the rows are one image that are just
Yeah.
broken up by the grid itself. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that.
Agreed.
Like, I think he does that when he's giving his press conference, where it's like the 6 top panels are just one solid image,
Yep.
but it's 6 panels. I like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I like when they make and break the grid. But regardless, like there's a character who's brought in.
Yep, we all know who that is. Also, I like how they portray him. The last page, Strange meets up with the person that, because Batman says no, and he's like, "We'll find somebody who's as good as you."
Yeah.
And when he goes to meet him, it's the exact same panel as when he meets people for his book signing.
Right, which is like evocative of that like
Phoniness.
or like living a lie.
Right, but also, interestingly enough, this is the only person who actually takes his hand in these interactions.
Yeah.
The person who takes it is Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I was like, oh, neat.
Yeah, there he is. Just-
Yeah, and I immediately when he said somebody who's as smart as you, I was like, oh, he's gonna go with Mr. Terrific.
there you go.
Cool. King also uses a quote from Carmine Infantino, who used to be in charge of DC Comics and is an incredible creator in his own right, long past, but odd quote. I don't know if I like the implication of the quote,
Right.
But that's what King likes to do, is take things that you love and like turn them on our ear,
Yeah.
and make you question whether you like them in the first place.
Right.
This is an excellent book. It looks great. It is written well.
Yeah.
And it like has the potential to say something, which is the most important.
Right. What I like about this, and like, don't come at me over this, but like this feels more like what he might have wanted Heroes in Crisis to be.
Yeah, big time. Oh no, I completely
It
agree
is
with that.
like not necessarily a character working through his own PTSD, which we may end up seeing something like that.
sure.
I think it is King working through some of his own stuff, which creators have every right to do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like maybe sometimes I'm like, just give King an independent book. Just let him go for it. But I mean, like, but with a character,
He can have any independent book he wants. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
literally could just call Image and be like, "I have a book. It's gonna look like this. It's gonna be by these creators."
Yeah.
Like,
Fine. But like, you know, taking a character like Adam Strange, who some people of course have a fandom for, but most people are unaware of him for the most part, you know what I mean? Or maybe they've heard the name in passing but don't really follow their stories. And like changing him up like this, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, like it did work with Mr. Miracle, but this book has that element of that mystery that Heroes in Crisis had or was like
well, like tried to affect, but it was like stupid.
yeah, but this seemingly actually does have a mystery.
Right.
And so like I don't know, like this could just be what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And now he's doing it.
Yeah.
We have said time and time again, give Tom King a character that nobody really cares about anymore. Let him do a character study on it and give him 12 issues and you'll probably get something pretty good.
And that's the thing. And not to disparage Adam Strange, it's just like there hasn't been an Adam Strange book for a long time, and there wouldn't be if Tom King wasn't interested in it.
Right, right.
Like, and I will admit, I'm not the world's biggest Adam Strange fan. I just don't find him very
No.
interesting. But I also was like, I'm not, like, that's not my kind of book. like classic 30s pulp action
Yeah,
hero kind of thing.
not me either.
But I appreciate that there are fans who like this character, and I'm sure they're going to be miserable.
Right, and I'm sorry if you do, and
Here's the thing: you can easily ignore it. I'm sure it won't be a big
right,
deal.
because there's like obviously a question about whether or not what continuity Mr. Miracle takes place
What's
in.
funny is, there was a big question about Mr. Miracle with this. I was like, when he put Batman in the book, I'm like, oh, like you're like, no, I'm putting this in continuity,
Right,
but it could not be.
Except it is a Black Label book, and since we've been questioning what Black Label books are,
Yep. Well, since they're nothing,
it's really easy to say it's not in this. Again, this is a Tom King character study of this character. By the way, that image that we're talking about right here on the back.
Oh, yeah.
This is an important image for them.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
there it is.
We'll get into more of this in a minute. I just want to get some super chats. And Eat That Horse says, recent films and games have tanked whatever general popularity Superman had. Nowadays, people think he's mopey, boring, and only works as a fascist villain. I mean, I don't know about that. I think it's more just the people. I think the movies and the movies and television have done nothing to help make more Superman fans.
No, I think it's possibly an issue of like two extremes where it's like people think that he's just like should be an action, like all out swinging, punching everything sort of hero, or he's hokey and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I think they don't understand that there's actually more to his character and there is some depth to it.
Yeah.
And like there is more than just that.
Right.
And so I think when at times people could be presented with it, it frustrates or confuses them.
Exactly. Sad Othani, people argue for what they like. Same people like trash, Sal. It's not your fault when you call out mistakes. And honestly, he looks like trash. Who am I talking about again? The designer. Yeah, I guess.
I was like, Mr. D. That's not his name.
Mr. D. Silvery Cricket says, I think the designer and Joker were talking, and the designer realized Joker never has a goal, and he just wants to play the game, hence the 10-hour meeting. That'd be funny, too, where it's like, no, but, like, what's the end game? And he's like, there isn't one. What are you doing? Like, or he's leading designer on, like, a merry, circuitous conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're not privy to it.
No, I'm so glad. Comics Explained, the guy yelling is wearing a Black Canary shirt. Haha. Cool. He also did an image
of someone yelling and
into a megaphone.
Yeah,
it's
perfect.
Great. I love it. Dr. Comic back says, can Tom King really retcon a hero to a killer? Oh, Heroes in Crisis. I mean, if Adam Strange is the murderer. I hope he isn't, because I want it to be like an actual murder mystery as opposed to like...
Right, as long as he doesn't like, Long Halloween it.
Right. Well, I don't think he's going to do that. Because I don't know. Emperor's Venetians. Did you see the indie creator who posted a panel or panel for panel comparison of Strange Adventures and his own book on Twitter, and it's really similar? No, I didn't hear anything about that.
No.
I don't follow a lot of people on Twitter, and I didn't see it like promoted by anybody on Twitter. Nor did I see it on any of the subreddits and in any news site. So it's very niche if that's the case. I'll check it out. Yeah, I want to see that. Because that happens. The fake Grant Morrison, Tom King doing what Tom King does best, and not, the other thing. No doubt he can be a pretty depressing Spider-Man mini.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure he would. I mean, like, Spider-Man is nothing but trauma.
He's gonna take He's gonna take the tarantula and write a 12-issue mini about...
Did I really stun them or not? I've been murdering people with my feet.
Oh, God.
What have I done?
Fuck.
That'll be the name of the book. So let's jump into some... and somebody pointed out, and I was like, oh, man, I can't believe they screwed this up. Hopefully they'll fix it. They'll fix it in the trade. Adam Strange's daughter's name is Aaliyah, not Alina. But in the text, it's Alina.
Oh.
Oops.
Maybe that's like a secret hint at...
Oh, yeah, like what reality we're in. Maybe...
No,
I'm sure it's
I'm sure they just accidentally
I'm certain it's a screw up. Let's jump into some recommendations. X-Men number 8 comes out next week. That was fast.
Right.
It's done by Jonathan Hickman and R.B. Silva and Lionel Francis Yu, or Lionel Yu. I don't know if Silva's doing the cover or not. I don't know. These preview websites are garbage, and it's impossible to make it like in any way useful. X-Men's coming out. I think that's cool. I'm gonna check that out. Obviously, I've been singing his praises and talking about the series for a while. X-Men's one of the only X-Men books I'm still reading at this point, so it better be. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot coming out this week though that I was like, oh, I want to read that. So yeah. Oh, there's more.
But wait.
Yeah. Joshy Lee, not able to watch right now, just wanted to check in and give some love. Have a great week.
Thank you so much.
You too, Joshy. Hey, listen, the show's almost over, so, thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Well, thank you.
Lucha Dandy, I can totally see King doing a Scarlet Spider mini. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
I think he'd rather do a Kane book. I mean, like, Scarlet Spider is Kane sometimes, but, like, yeah.
But
Kane.
Yeah.
A rejected person.
Yeah.
Kane would suddenly get a girlfriend.
Right? It's too obvious for him to do Punisher, but...
Yeah. I would read that, though. Are you
Right?
kidding me? Come on. His vision was excellent.
I guess for me, Ghost Rider number 6 is coming out.
Yay!
He's going to be dealing with Doctor Strange now.
Yep. And Blackheart.
And Blackheart. Well, Blackheart like showed up in the last one. Who knows what's going to happen there?
That's true.
So now Johnny's got a can of whoop ass with old Stevie's name on it. That's what they wrote. That is what they wrote. For some reason, Doctor Strange has like a weird shaved head side haircut thing where it's like all up here and then
Oh.
how old is he?
Too old for that haircut.
The other thing I want to mention too, guys, if you're looking for another Hickman fix, Hickman has a
Fixman?
a Fixman, if you will.
No.
No, you won't. Over at Image, he's coming out with another indie book called Decorum. So if you were digging his East of West, and now that that's done, you're like, but I want more Hickman indie, and Black Monday Murders is never coming out.
Right.
I would go check that out. It's about assassins and having good manners. That's what they posted it as.
Right on.
Like, manners are a sensitive awareness of others' feelings. If you have that awareness, you have good manners, no matter what knife you use. I'm like, okay.
Okay, I'll check that. No, I'm
Listen, Hickman's on a hot streak. I'm gonna go check it out. At the very least, see what's going on over there. It's just a story he wants to tell.
Well, he could tell any story he wants, so if he's doing this, he must really want to tell that story.
I guess so.
So, all right. Well, that's it, everybody. We want to
Yeah.
thank you so much for hanging out with us. Of course, welcome.
I keep hitting
if you
your
are...
feet, I'm sorry.
I know. But yeah, anything else happening this week? Obviously, Backish is on Wednesday. Elseworlds Exchange tomorrow on Tuesday around 12-ish.
Yeah.
12:30-ish in the afternoon. And yeah, that's it. We'll
That's
see you
all.
guys next
That's
week.
all that's happening.
Right?
I'm gonna be playing Doom tomorrow, but that's it.
Oh yeah, you should check it out.
I want to finish it, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it
I hope you do.
tomorrow.
If you do like watching people play video games, she's playing video games over on twitch.tv/ComicPOP. Check her out over there. We won't be able to do a lead-in because there isn't going to be an Absolute Comics tomorrow. But
That's okay.
Yeah. Oh, and March 28th, unless I heard that New Jersey committed a state of emergency, so who knows? But like March 28th on a Saturday, we'll be going to ZapCon. We're gonna have a panel at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'll have a little booth. No handshakes, but we'll do something.
Yeah.
We'll probably do the Vulcan salute. It's very
We'll do finger guns.
finger guns. So if you do come to Wayne, New Jersey to ZapCon, not only will you be able to buy an assortment of fun stickers and posters and whatnot that we have, but you can also finger guns with us and whatnot. So yeah, that's it.
Oh, I'm out.
Oh, we're going to have to get you some
I gotta reload.
some air bullets. I gotta reload. All right, so long, everybody. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
Bye.
Bye, guys.